Well, good morning, Wellspring.
Good morning.
And all of you out in Zoom land. You're going to be muted and we're going to have the recording going. So forever and ever, this day will be marked. Yay. Okay. My name is Vicki Avery and I'm a board member here at Wellspring. And I'll be part of your Sunday, April 2nd, 2023 service team. I heard that yesterday, April Fool's Day was canceled because nobody could come up with a prank big enough that would overcome all the craziness that's happening in the world right now. So happy April 2nd. As always, we're going to start out with a few announcements. Early Birds meets Sunday mornings at 9:30 via Zoom. The link is on the weekly email and on the website. We're having a great time. I hope folks will come and join us. It's not too late to jump right on in. Upcoming speakers for the month of April. Next week on Easter Sunday will be Reverend Randy Granger. On the 16th will be Peggy Shin. The 23rd will be Reverend Kamatara from Albuquerque, and she's part of our spiritual leadership team. And on the 30th, we have Reverend Bonnie Smith coming from CSL. So that's April's speakers. Thursday evening group is still meeting on Thursdays. That's appropriate, don't you think? Yeah. At 7 p.m., and it's not too late to join because every week it's a new speaker. And the series has talks with such well-known authors as Bruce Lipton, PhD, Lisa Rankin, MD, Dr. Mike Dow, and Lynn McTaggart. So every week is a little different, and I've been hearing that the conversations, the discussions afterwards are fabulous. So please join Thursday, 7 p.m. We have dowsing coming up in April. Jean Geringer will be here again on Saturday, April 15th. That's my birthday. From 1:30 to 4:30. And there's a love offering, suggested $25 fee. And then we have a community event. We've been having just the best times getting together. Last week at the Singing Crystal Bowls was amazing. So April will be an ice cream social and movie night on Sunday, April 23rd, and the time is to be determined. And then the New Thought Ladies Luncheon is Thursday, April 27th, 11:30 at CSL. And if you have any more questions, you could talk to Shirley Angellove. And lastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve and to support you. If you have anything that you would like the prayer team to pray with you, you can fill out that request via the web page or give it to Dr. Edward. Our prayer team meets virtually on Tuesdays afternoons at 4:30, as I said, to pray with you and to support you. You may consider sitting in your quiet space during that time, because we know that we are one in spirit and the energy of prayer knows no limits. And now we'll have an invocation. If you'd like to just get comfortable in your chair and feel that support. Great Spirit, Mother, Father, God, the all that is flowing in, through, and around each one of us. We know that we are supported here at our beloved Wellspring community. We are all one in that spirit, and we give great thanks. We feel that the winds are blowing in the new season of spring, new beginnings. And we are giving great thanks for the change of seasons and the change on our own spiritual path, as we say together, and so it is. And now, if you would stand, if you're able, for the Song of Joy, I Am the Thinker.
I am the thinker who
Thank you, everybody. That was beautiful. Well, please be seated. Oh, you're already out there. Okay. If you please say together with me our vision, mission, and affirmation. Our vision: to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission: to support individual spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. And our affirmation: spring trees around me show us that spirit expresses effortlessly in nature. We affirm and acknowledge that same spirit expressing through each of us, bringing our magnificence forward for all to see. And so it is. I had an April Fool's prank put on me. They have the wrong one here. Surprise! Now, it's my great privilege to introduce Barry, who's going to introduce our musician.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. So we're so glad to have Ayo back in town. He's moved back to Las Cruces. I think he's going to make it his home now. So you remember last time, I think I told you that he is originally from originally from somewhere else, but lived in Washington, D.C., where he studied music, has a lot of training in classical music. And it's been a great pleasure to hear his tenor voice. And so he's going to bring us 2 songs today. So here's the first one. Ayo.
Child of this universe, the ocean dances at my feet. The wind plays a melody through my hair. I am loved at every turn. I am kissed by Mother Earth. I am a child of this universe. The sun warms me in its embrace. The stars have a line for me in the sky. I am honored my whole life. I am held by Father Time. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on a tree, every mountain top sings of the glory of God moving through me. I am a child of this universe. Through my breath all of life can breathe. I plant the seeds with my every dream. I can love at every turn. Give a kiss to Mother Earth. Yes, I am a child of this universe. I greet the God in its face. I am a channel for peace to flow. Oh, I love all of life. Yes, I'm one with Father Time. To every blade of grass, to every breaking leaf on a tree, to every mountain top, I sing of the glory of God moving through all.
That was beyond amazing. You have such a pure, beautiful voice. And thank you for sharing your gift with us. And Barry, thank you for bringing us such talented musicians. How appropriate that we are talking about doing your best. So I'm going to read today from the 4 agreements. Most of you are probably familiar with these. The first one is be impeccable with your word. The second one is don't take anything personally. The third one is don't make assumptions. And the fourth one is always do your best. The fourth agreement, that's better than a drum roll. Thank you. So the fourth agreement is about the action of the first 3. Always do your best. Under any circumstance, always do your best, no more and no less. But keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. Everything is alive and changing all the time, so your best will sometimes be high quality, and other times it will be not as good. When you wake up refreshed and energized in the morning, your best will be better than when you're tired at night. Your best will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick, or sober as opposed to drunk. Your best will depend on whether you are feeling wonderful and happy, or upset, angry, or jealous. In your everyday moods, your best can change from one moment to another, from 1 hour to the next, and from one day to another. Your best will always change over time. Regardless of the quality, keep doing your best, no more and no less than your best. If you try too hard to do more than your best, you will spend more energy than is needed, and in the end, your best will not be enough. When you overdo, you deplete your body and go against yourself, and it will take you longer to accomplish your goal. But if you do less than your best, you subject yourself to frustrations, self-judgment, and regrets. Just do your best in any circumstance in your life. It doesn't matter if you're sick or tired, or if you always do your best, there'll be no way you can judge yourself. And if you don't judge yourself, there's no way you're going to suffer from guilt, blame, and self-punishment. By always doing your best, you will break a big spell that you have been under. And so it is. And now, it's my great honor to introduce our best Dr. Edward to give his message.
Good morning. It's already a magnificent, beautiful morning. We see the unfolding of nature and divine spirit. Spring has sprung. So I gave Vicki a bit of a challenge this week because I told her I know the title, but not sure it's going to help you much. And I said the title of my talk today is Put Your Best Foot Forward. But in all honesty, I did give her I sent her a more detailed email to help her out. And thank you, perfect reading. So this idea of putting your best foot forward might typically make us think of the idea of you only get one chance to make a good first impression, right? Or to make a first impression of any kind. So I want to take this further and discuss how we can extend this into the concepts of the spiritual dimension and so forth. And some of what I'm going to speak about today, I'm taking from the book Practical Metaphysics by Eric Butterworth. And some of it I'm just making up. We're currently reading this book in Early Birds. And I don't think anything about that Eric Butterworth says is particularly new to us, but sometimes I think he uses maybe a little different terminology than what we're used to, because we mostly use terminology based on Ernest Holmes. But at any rate, I may do a little translation or cross-translation as we go about this. But the chapter we're reading right now is called Faith. And what I want to talk about is going to come many of the concepts from the topic of faith in that chapter. And he says, first of all, have faith. All right, so when speaking of faith, we might think of ourselves, or might find ourselves thinking of faith as it relates to our starter religion, and thinking that it means we have to believe in God, which of course brings to our minds all that religion meant to us, the ceremony, the belief in heaven and hell, so on and so forth. In a more New Thought paradigm, faith doesn't have to mean a faith or even a belief in God in that traditional sense. What it can mean is that we have faith or belief or confidence in the laws of the universe and the fact that they are unwavering and unchanging. In our affirmative prayer, we say we place it into the law knowing that it is already done or that is acted upon as we speak. If we have trust and confidence that this law operates for everyone, everywhere, and without hesitation, then we can believe that what we speak into the law will unfold. And the reason we can say this is because we believe, as we say in our first two steps of the affirmative prayer, number one, in simple version, God is all there is, right? And as such, we are in God, of God, surrounded by God, and have available to us all the creative powers of God. So that's kind of the first two steps of the affirmative prayer, briefly. We believe that from a consciousness that puts us in tune with the process, knowing that when we create the conditions, the law has no choice but to act in accordance with the program that we've set up. Purely scientifically, if we just replace the word God with energy, and that we can manipulate energy and manifest energy as matter or experience in our 3D world, we can do that following the basic laws of energy. We know that negative thoughts or thought forms within our personal energy field can result in conditions within our physical bodies. Doesn't have to, but it can. And in the same manner, changing our thoughts or our energy can result in reversing these physical effects, removing those blockages in the other worlds, removes it in our physical. And this is being proven by any number of individuals and groups and experiments every day. And some of the topics that or speakers we've been listening to in our Thursday night group over the last year or so address this and address manners in which to do this. So moving on, Butterworth says to use faith well. He says, we must realize that faith is always present. Faith is part of our consciousness, and I would say in the same manner that we can say we are always creating. It's always happening. He links this to a statement that we might make, such as, if we just had more faith, we might be more successful in our endeavors. He points out that we always have faith. It just might be that we have faith in the wrong things. For example, fear is faith, worry is faith, insecurity is faith. So fear, worry, insecurity, etc. are just belief in things that are negative rather than in positive. He also says that faith does not change reality, but changes our perception of it. Again, these are concepts that we deal with in maybe different terminology from time to time, but it's still the same stuff. Think of those who thought or believed that the earth was flat, or that in the early days the earth was the center of the universe and all the planets and the sun and everything revolved around the earth. So the truth was that the earth was a spheroid, and that the earth and the rest of the planets in our solar system, revolved around the sun. The earth did not change from flat to spherical when a large enough number of people believed it to be spherical. In the same manner, those who were more aligned with actuality or reality of the spherical world could make better use of the conditions such as they were. And this goes to anything in your life. If you're, I don't like the way it is, it should be different. I mean, it's kind of like, well, there's a lot of expressions about how you can't get anywhere doing that kind of thing. So as we align ourselves better with what is actuality or reality, we're better able to cope with the actuality or the reality. As going back to the spherical or globe, Columbus would not have sailed west if he had believed that he would fall off the edge of the earth. Everybody else knew he was going to, not everybody else, knew he was going to his doom. So he was able to cope with the situation as it was and so forth. So I think of it this way. As we adopt a positive focus, we can find solutions where others see only problems. In another topic area that he talks about is that the spiritual process is at work in you all the time. It's up to us to use it or to close our eyes to it. When we are in tune with our God consciousness, when we are aware that we are spiritual beings in tune with the divine flow, then no matter what difficulties are out there, we can choose not to participate in them. Years ago, I heard someone say, yeah, I know there's a recession going on, but I choose not to participate. Now we know you can't say, I realize gravity is a law, but I choose not to participate and jump off a cliff. That doesn't quite work the same. But so if you think about it, the so-called recession is an average event, right? It's not an individual event in that sense. So we can choose to be outliers in this situation. Our business may flourish because we are attuned to our divine creative. The same goes with our health. We can choose to be an outlier rather than the negative. One of the 2% of the success stories which doctors can't explain by normal responses to treatment. So we aren't trying to change the things out there. We're just changing the way we relate to them and the level of consciousness at which we function. Rather than worrying, we free up all that energy and creativity to find solutions. It's all just a matter of what you want to spend your energy or your life force on. And you can apply that to anger, whatever. You want to spend your time being angry, or you want to release and forgive the situation and spend your time and energy on doing something more creative. He says, walk in your godliness. So in the Christian faith, today is Palm Sunday. And this celebrates the event where Jesus entered Jerusalem on the back of a donkey and the people waved palms and place palms on the path in front of him to honor his arrival. So let's extend this to ourselves. Jesus was one of the clearest examples of the Christ consciousness manifested on this earth plane that we know of. But every one of us has the same Christ consciousness and exhibits or demonstrates it, perhaps to a lesser degree, every day. However, we have the same potential that Jesus demonstrated. And there are so many biblical expressions or statements, greater things than this you too shall do. You are the Christ. So imagine that we are welcomed by a path of palms wherever we go. God rejoices in our experiences, knowing that each one of us lifts the collective consciousness and the universe with every grain of wisdom we acquire. We sometimes don't fathom just how beloved we are and how important we are in this process. What may keep us from realizing and expressing our Christ more than we do is that we do not appreciate our full potential. Most of us struggle with a less than self-concept. It doesn't matter if that belief came from our upbringing or our life experiences or whatever, but it seems to be underlying how we have thought about ourselves in the past. So we can accept that less than, but let's accept that it's part of our past. And we now choose, affirm, and acknowledge that we are more than whatever we think we are. We are more capable, more loving, more giving, etc. And even at our greatest, we are always more. Einstein made this statement that we only use 10% of our brain power. Well, unless you know what 100% is, you don't even know what 10% is. But that being aside, there's always more. There's always more. Remember the old nursery rhyme song, whatever, the bear went over the mountain and what did he see, and then there's another mountain, da, da, da. So in this case, let's turn it around a little bit and say, every time we accept another part of every time we accept another part of our magnificence, we find there's still more beauty, grace, joy, and love available to be experienced and expressed. And we are always greeted and welcomed with love and acceptance by Source. Why not start each day by acknowledging that today, wherever I am, whatever I'm experiencing, there's always more in me. Let's try to wrap this back around to how it might relate to putting your best foot forward. So again, in the mundane world, this might mean making a good first impression, perhaps warmly greeting those we are meeting, or dressing for success, something like that, right? But let's extend it to the spiritual dimension. We have something many people don't realize they have. I say it that way because everybody has access to it, to the same principles that we talk about here all the time. But perhaps we have an advantage because we know we have it. We know we can use it, and we know how to use it. I'm not saying that advantage is good or bad. It's not judgment of someone else. It's just I'm saying let's step up to accepting and knowing and acting with what we have. So let's say we're going to be going into a business meeting or a medical appointment. We could consciously send our positive energy into the meeting before us, or at least let it precede us into the room as we go in. And this positive energy can have many forms, but just imagine the highest and best outcome of the meeting no matter what. You and they, if it's that kind of a negotiation thing, will come together in oneness and arrive at an outcome that serves the highest good of all parties involved. Perhaps negotiations will turn around and both sides will join in a constructive solution which no one may have thought of before the meeting. That's pretty cool, isn't it? That's amazing. Perhaps as you fill the room with your positive energy, your medical professional will listen and actually hear your concerns. Maybe they will be transcending of time and space and spend all the time with you need in spite of their usual 2-minute visit. Everything is possible in consciousness. How about something as simple as driving across town? Why not send our positive energy, some people might call it sending the light, ahead to smooth the journey, providing safe and speedy travel, with arrival and plenty of time to collect ourselves once we get there. All it takes is a few seconds to pause and visualize our path surrounded by that energy and love. Maybe make it a habit when you sit in your car before turning on the radio or, it only takes a couple of seconds to lay those palms down in front of you all the way. And I know air travel can sometimes be stressful, right? So in this case, take a few seconds to visualize our entire journey being completed safely and without stress. You can use that same concept of sending the light or positive energy ahead. Then maybe every time you walk through a door, just reimagine that positive energy moving in front of you. Or before you go through security, rather than, you know how it is, taking your shoes off and your belt and your this and your that, take a deep belly breath and just let it go in front of you. When you're getting on the plane, same thing. Renting a car, same thing. Checking into a hotel, same thing. It's all within our power and possibility. So we have the knowledge, the understanding, and belief of how it works. So let's consciously use what we already know. Why not walk in the light or with spirit everywhere we go? Why not have our journey be filled with grace and goodness and let all good precede us everywhere we go? In the words of the ancient Celtic prayer, may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. With everything we've said today, in the next week, put your best foot forward by leaning into everything you do with faith, with your Christ consciousness, and your more, knowing that you are prepared for and capable and confident in any experience that comes your way. And so it is. It is. So let us take this to prayer. So let's every one of us just take a moment and let our own divinity, our own Christ consciousness settle in. You know you've got it. It's not a place of fear. It's a place of love and joy, connection with the oneness of the all that there is, the Almighty, the universe plus, this ever-expanding consciousness which lifts all of us and everything. So we touch that spot within ourselves and we recognize that that oneness is part of us. We are in the middle of it, and it is in the middle of us. It is a core of our being. From this point, we can look out at situations we may be anticipating this week, situations we may have experienced last week. Makes no difference. Those are purely experiences. We can let go of the past. We can let go of the future because we are here now. This is the only time that matters, this instant, this divine presence, this now. We are here. We are at the apex of our consciousness right now. No matter how big that seems, just know that we are more than that. There is more to be unfolded, more to unfold in our lives. We walk on that path of palms, ever being greeted by that oneness. Come closer, my beloved. Come closer. So we take this, the energy of this prayer, we take this knowingness, and we let it flow out from each of us, out from this communion of like-minded individuals, out into the universe. And in that flow, we just place any of our worries, our concerns, those friends and family who are on our prayer list and who aren't on our prayer list. We just see them in that flow. They're being enveloped, this golden flow of energy. Perhaps lifting them to a higher sense of wisdom and understanding of what it is they're going through, knowing that it is all in divine right order. We take this prayer and all our desires for this prayer, we place it into the law, knowing that even as we have made the intention, at the germ of the thought, it is already being acted on. It is already being worked through, resolved. So we give great thanks for the knowing that this is going on. We give thanks for this consciousness that we share, this understanding that we have. We know that everything that's in front of us is part of our divine pattern. We are greeted and cheered upon along the way as we go forth to this following week. So it is. Now we have some more beautiful music by Oyo. Thank you.
This next song that Ayo's going to do is, it's about I think it's a lot along what Dr. Edward was talking about today, is what we see makes us what we are. So this is what happens if you roll the stone away from your eyes. What comes in? So he'll be singing this song today. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
The stone has rolled away from my heart. The stone has rolled away from my heart. And the light pours in where it once was dark. The stone has rolled away from my heart. The darkness has been lifted from my eyes. The darkness has been lifted from my eyes. And the sun shines bright in the morning sun. The darkness has been lifted from my eyes. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, I see, I see, I see. God's love has awakened me. A song of joy awakens in my soul. A song of joy awakens in my soul. What I thought was dark, I know it goes. A song of joy awakens my soul. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, I see, I see, I see. God's love has awakened me. Thank you, God, you rolled the stone away. Thank you, God, you rolled the stone away. And I have seen resurrection day. Thank you, God, you rolled the stone away. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, I see, I see, I see. God's love has awakened me. Hallelujah, hallelujah, I see, I see, I see. God's love has awakened me. Hallelujah, hallelujah, I see, I see, I see. God's love
Thank you. That was beautiful. So we give great thanks for your gifts. And we acknowledge and receive our virtual and in-person gifts. We give great thanks for the offerings already given and those that we will be receiving, because we know that giving and receiving are both part of the one flow. We affirm that we are also part of that flow. We bless these gifts and know that they are multiplied throughout our community. And so it is. So there's a number of folks we want to give thanks to for contributing to the production of this service today. So thank you all for serving our beloved Wellspring. And we thank you for joining us, and you out in Zoom land for being here. And lastly, if you'd like to stick around in the Zoom meeting to visit and or come on over to the fellowship area for a little visit and refreshment. So please stand if you're able and read with me the benediction, followed by our congregational song. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world. And so it is.